Here's what nobody tells you about the 4% rule. It stops working at age 73. Not because your math breaks, but because the IRS takes control of your money. And if you have a retirement portfolio over $1 million, this could cost you more than your mortgage did. Last week, I ran the numbers for a client, call him David, who had done everything right. He'd saved diligently, built a $2.3 million portfolio, planned to follow the 4% rule at $92K per year. His advisor had told him he was all set for a comfortable retirement. Then something happened that should have been good news. His portfolio grew by 12% annually over 5 years. By age 78, his balance had hit $4.05 million. His required minimum distribution, or RMD, $183,465. His 4% rule withdrawal, adjusted for inflation, was only $107,200. He was being forced to withdraw $76,265 more than his plan called for. And that extra money pushed him into the 32% tax bracket, triggered maximum Medicare IRMA surcharges, and cost him over $28,000 in additional taxes and fees in that year alone. His success became his problem. So today I'm going to show you 3 real case studies where RMDs and the 4% rule collide, and give you strategies to navigate this minefield before it's too late, because once you hit 73, your options become limited. So with that explanation, let's dive into this latest edition of the Financial Prof series. So the 4% rule says that if you withdraw 4% of your portfolio in year 1 of retirement and adjust for inflation each year, your money should last at least 30 years. Simple, predictable, you're in control. But required minimum distributions change everything. Starting at age 73, now that will slowly go up to age 75 over the coming couple of years, you must withdraw a minimum percentage from your portfolio, that is, your pre-tax IRAs and your 401ks. That percentage increases every year as you age. At age 73, your RMD is roughly 3.77% of your account balance, but by age 80, it's 5.35%, and by 90, you're required to withdraw 8.77% every year. But here's the problem. Your RMD is not based on your original balance. It's based on the current balance, which if it grows, your RMD grows too. So let's say you have $2 million at age 73. Your RMD is $75,400, slightly less than your 4% rule withdrawal of $80K. No problem yet. But if your portfolio grows to $2.5 million by age 78, your RMD is now $116,250. Your 4% rule says only $92,765 should be taken out. You're being forced to withdraw $23,485 more than your carefully planned strategy. And that's where the real problem really starts to begin. So let's take an example of a client couple. We'll call them Robert and Linda, both 72, married. Combined traditional IRA is $3.2 million. Social Security, $65,000 every year. Now they need $120,000 to live on per year. And at age 73, their RMD on $3.4 million is $128,180, meaning their total income is $193,180 per year. Their Medicare Part B premium was a standard $185 per month each, $4,440 annually for both. But fast forward to age 76. Now their IRA balance is $3.7 million. Their RMD is $154,290. Total income is $65K plus $154K equals $219.2K. They just crossed the first IRMA threshold of $212,000 for married couples. Their Medicare Part B premiums jumped from $185 per month to $259 per month each, an increase of $1,776. Now, their Part D also jumps to $328.80. The total additional cost is $2,104 per year, just by crossing that threshold by about $7,000. That's income they didn't want to take, and the 4% rule says they should be withdrawing about $140K at this point, but the RMD forced them to take $154,290. Over the next 15 years of retirement, as their RMDs continue climbing and pushing them through higher IRMA brackets, they'll pay an estimated $45 to $60K in additional Medicare costs that they could have avoided with proper planning. But IRMA is just one problem. So let me show you what happens when RMDs collide with the market crash, the sequence of returns risk you've heard so much about, right? Let's meet Jennifer, a prospective client age 71, single. IRA balance is 1.8 million. Social Security is 32K per year, and she needs 90K per year total. Following that 4% rule, she withdraws 72K from her portfolio, and at age 73, RMDs kick in at $65,975. She takes her planned 72K, portfolio grows modestly to 1.76 million. At age 74, the market drops 18%, just like it did in 2022. Her portfolio drops to 1.44 million, but she still has to take her RMD of $71,280 based on the prior year's balance, and she's forced to sell at the bottom. At age 75, the market recovers, let's say, 12%. Her portfolio grows to 1.53 million, but she's locked in losses selling during the crash. And here's the critical difference. Under the 4% rule with control over her withdrawals, she could have reduced spending temporarily during that downturn, letting her portfolio recover. But RMDs don't care about market conditions. You must comply. By age 80, compared to a scenario where she had complete control over withdrawal timing, Jennifer's portfolio is about $280,000 smaller, roughly 20% less wealth, directly attributable to being forced to take RMDs during and after a market crash. Now, if you're wondering how this affects your specific situation, I'm offering a free personalized 5-minute retirement plan video for you, which uses your numbers and your data. If you click the link in the description, we can run through your scenario of what you might look like and see how you can avoid the same kinds of traps that Jennifer found herself falling into. But there's one more collision that we haven't discussed yet, and this one might be the most expensive of all, so let's go ahead and get right into it. Meeting Thomas. Again, prospective client, age 68, portfolio of $2.8 million in traditional IRAs. Thomas's Social Security is $40K per year. Following that 4% rule, withdrawing $112,000 per year. Now, Thomas has 3 children, and each one of his are expecting some kind of inheritance. And one of his retirement goals is, in fact, to leave them that healthy inheritance, something he worked his entire life to build and has discussed with them before. Now, he's careful not to overspend unnecessarily, keeping his lifestyle modest and his withdrawals conservative. But at age 78, let's say, his wife develops dementia and needs memory care. According to the 2024 Genworth Costs of Care survey, memory care assisted living costs $70.8K per year. His RMD at age 78 on his $3.2 million balance of about 4.5% comes to $145,000. Total income is $185,000. Care costs are $70.8K. Remaining is $114.2K. Manageable for now. But here's the critical question. What happens in half a decade when she needs full nursing home care? According to seniorliving.org, the current median cost of a private room in a nursing home is $361 per day, $131.5K annually. At a 2.5% annual inflation rate, which is relatively low, that's $148,000 in 5 years. Now let's say at age 83, his RMD rate is going to be now 5.59% following the tables on a $3.3 million balance. That's over $184,000. But now he needs $148,000 for her care, plus $65,000 for his living. That's $213K total. His income is $40K from Social Security, $184 equals $224K. He's all right, but barely. But look at what's happening here. The 4% rule would suggest that withdrawals of about $145K at this age. He's being forced to take out an extra $39.4K he does not need right now. That extra withdrawal pushes him into the 24% tax bracket, triggers his maximum IRMA surcharges, and depletes his portfolio faster than necessary, eating into that inheritance he wants to leave for his children. By age 85, nursing home costs could be $165,000 plus. His portfolio, depleted by years of higher than necessary RMDs, is now $2.6 million instead of the $3.1 million it could have been. His RMD at age 85 is going to equal $175,760 at a 6.76 withdrawal rate. Total Social Security is $215,760 all said and done. But now he needs $230K for care and living. He's now short and burning through principal at an unsustainable rate. Now, the tragedy If he'd had flexibility to control his withdrawals during the healthy years, his portfolio would be significantly larger when he actually needed the money. And that 500K difference, that's not just his security, that's his children's inheritance vanishing because of forced withdrawals that he neither wanted nor needed. So, here's the ultimate question. How does this apply to you, and what do you do about it? Well, strategy number one, and this is where this really comes into play, Roth conversion ladders in your 60s. If you're age 58 to 67 with relatively low income before Social Security, this is your golden window. If you were to convert, say, $80,000 to $100,000 per year from your traditional IRA to Roth, filling up that 22% or 24% bracket, you could find yourself in a much better situation than Thomas or any of the other individuals we talked about. For example, if you convert $400,000 over 4 years at 22% average, that's going to be about $88,000 in taxes paid. But that $400,000 is now Roth. No RMDs, ever. No state, local, or federal tax. Your future RMDs are calculated on a smaller balance, potentially saving $66 to $72K in taxes, and possibly $40 to $50K in IRMA surcharges over retirement. That is, again, income-related monthly adjustment amount is IRMA. Now, here's another strategy for you. QCDs. At a 70.5, donate $111K, let's just say, from your IRA to a qualified charity through the Qualified Charitable Distribution Strategy. Tax savings at 24% equals over $26K per year, helping keep you below IRMA thresholds entirely. And strategy number 3, strategic asset location. Keep those high-growth assets in Roth or taxable accounts, not traditional IRAs. If your traditional IRA grows too much, your RMDs get bigger. Sometimes it's better to have growth occur where you control the timing of recognition, and it's also more tax advantaged. Another strategy, number 4, would be delaying Social Security. Delaying to 67 or 70 gives you more room for Roth conversions in your 60s without pushing you into higher brackets. Plus, higher Social Security means you can reduce portfolio withdrawals when RMDs are highest. Strategy number 5, long-term care insurance. Now, this is very much a not right for everyone's solution, but it can be very right for some people. If Thomas, from our example, had purchased coverage at age 60, securing 6 to 7K in monthly benefits, he'd have 72 to 84K annually for care costs potentially, dramatically reducing his portfolio's pressure during those high-cost years. So you see, the 4% rule is a great guideline, but it was created before we fully understood the collision with RMDs, IRMA, sequence of returns risk, and the modern inflation scenario that we're facing. If you have over $1 million in a traditional retirement account or accounts, this is going to affect you whether you realize it or not. The 3 case studies that we walked through today are composites of real situations I see constantly. For example, Robert and Linda paying thousands in extra Medicare premiums that they didn't know existed. Or Jennifer losing nearly $300,000 in portfolio value from forced withdrawals during a crash. Or Thomas facing a care crisis precisely when inflexible RMDs depleted his resources and his children's inheritance. But if you're in your mid-50s all the way up to even age 70, you have time to plan around this collision. David, the client from the beginning, he's 63. We built a 5-year Roth conversion plan, converting 90K annually. By age 68, he'll have moved 450K to Roth, and his RMDs at 73 will potentially be 20% lower, and he'll avoid the first IRMA bracket entirely. So, here's the situation that you're facing today. If you want to know exactly how this applies to your retirement, I would encourage you to click the link in the description, and I'll send you your free, personalized 5-minute retirement plan video analyzing your specific numbers and show you the exact strategies that make sense for your situation. So here's my challenge. Pull out your IRA statement, look at the balance, and decide, have you planned out for what happens when RMDs force you to take more than the 4% rule suggests? Or is it time for another answer? Then run the numbers. Usually with a professional is best. I know I'm biased, but that collision is coming, and the only question is whether you'll be prepared. So with that, I appreciate you watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next one, and in the meantime, I'll see you out there.